there's a few things that killed it. The biggest thing that killed the driving movie theater, now, died. Now, the people actually, the thing that really killed the driving movie theater, people actually said it was the HBO killed it. They said, actually, I remember hearing people say Betamax killed it, HBO killed it, pay per view killed it. But that's actually not lying. That's actually not kill it. Actually, mostly it was because of the land property, or it was because of the crash. Most of the time, people say it's because most of it in the 80s where it crashed. In the 80s is why it crashed down. In the 80s when it crashed. Me personally, I'm not really sure what killed off the theater. Did you? I don't know what actually killed off the drive-in movie theaters. But like me, I know. I mean, I read places people saying that this killed it off, that killed it off, and you can't really believe everything you hear. Okay. Now, there are people who actually, if you tell people what killed the drive movie theater, they don't even know. If you don't know what drive, the thing is though, what really killed the drive movie theater, it doesn't like. There's actually no reason to actually explain how it got killed off. I mean, people say it was this, people say it was that. Well, I can't really explain what actually killed the driving off. But I mean, as of 2021, as of 2020, driving movie theaters have come back. There's like 300. I mean, according to my knowledge, there's like 300 over just over 300. I mean, as of this recording, there's just a little over there's about 330 like 320 some driving stuff in the U.S. still operating today. Most of them are extreme rated to my knowledge. There's like one I heard in upstate Michigan. I think Allegan. I think it was right around Allegan. It's a extreme theater. I mean, there's a few driving theaters around Michigan. I mean, I live in Michigan. Most of the driving theaters are in Michigan or Texas. It depends where you live. Now, what killed the driving theater off? It doesn't really. No one really knows what killed it off. I mean, you can ask someone. You can ask someone what killed it. Now, it wasn't only because I mean, some places actually. I mean, one time I was in. The other day I was driving past Minden, Michigan. Okay, which is on 60, and we thought the driving movie theater was coming back. We actually thought the driving movie theater was coming back, and we were wrong. It was just the guys coming out of the trees, which we're thinking, are they going to reopen? We really don't know. But the thing is, though, some driving movie theaters are actually, kids that never been to a driving movie theater. Think of it. I mean, people look at driving movie theaters like it because you can smoke in the theater with no problem. You have no problem with driving movie theaters. Like me, I'm a I'm a person that loves to drive in. Okay, I've been able to drive in most of my life. I mean, if you've ever been to a drive-in movie theater, if you've never been to a drive-in movie theater, you need to find one where you live. I mean, I live near three of them actually. I live near one. There's actually one in Coldwater, Michigan. There's one in Newatic, Michigan. There's also one in Hartford, Michigan. Now there used to be a few. I mean, there's actually one in Minden right now that's closed. But I mean, the drive-in movie theater actually died off because in the mid '80s due to a lot of people say a lot of the drive-ins closed off because of the due to one particular item, which I do believe that killed it off was the thing. Most people think it killed it off the drive-in movie theater was that some people think. Some actually even told me personally. Someone told me that killed the drive-in movie theaters in their time was also what killed off some drive-in movie theaters were mostly it was the crash. Most of them died off in the '70s, '80s when they died off. Someone told me they think their drive-in movie theater closed down because of the '80 crash of the '80s. That's what closed down their movie theater, but you can still find movie theaters still. You can still find a drive-in. I mean, the internet has been good for some things, but if you want to find a drive-in movie theater, go to Google and type in drive-in movie theater and type in your state, or type in community. If you think, according to what I have read over the years, like Dallas, Texas, like Dallas Fort Worth area had like. Now I have read somewhere. I don't know if it was confirmed or not. Like Dallas Fort Worth area had like 5 or 10 drive-in movie theaters. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, drive-in movie theaters are pretty neat. I mean, you can find a drive-in movie theater that's still open. Go to it. Find a movie you want to watch and watch it. I mean, they have modernized now the digital production. I mean, they're not digital now, digital production. But I mean, if you can find a drive-in movie theater, go to it. If it's open, go to it. I mean, some drive-in movie theaters keep the old acts from the '60s, '60s. Some actually got new ones. I remember when I was younger, I remember go to the drive-in movie theater, watching old things. Until recently, then recently they changed it to a newer version of it. But I mean, I've been to maybe 3 drive-ins my whole entire life. 2 in Michigan and 1 in Indiana. which I actually can tell you right now, if you do go to a drive, if you can go to a if you can find a drive-in movie theater, go to one, go to it, and go to it as soon as possible. I mean, right now they're closed for the year. I mean, if you live in Michigan, they're closed for the year, but if you can see two movies right now for like $10. I mean, come on. If most people say they take their pickup truck and go, like if I had the money, I'd buy myself a drive-in movie theater. If I could build a drive-in movie theater, I would. First, get me a super brat to use it. But I mean, you can't really find them anymore like you used to. But you can still find a couple drive-in movie theaters still open. I mean, there's not many like I said open these days, but you can still find a few drive-ins. I mean, there's like one that was open in there's one that open somewhere that has a movie theater, but no pool at a hotel. I don't know where that was at, but I mean, I read somewhere that. I mean, most drive-in movie theaters will have a jump box to jump your car to get you going again, but that's about all I'm going to say. But like, me personally, I love the drive-in. The drive-in's great. The drive-in has always been fun going to when I was younger. I mean, still to this day, the drive-in's still cool to go to. I mean, if you go to a drive-in, I'd say go to it as soon as possible because you're missing an experience. Let's turn it out. You're missing the experience. Or you spend 20, or I did spend a couple bucks on a cheap projector, which I got over there, pointing towards the wall. There you go, cheap driving. You can do that too, but I recommend going to an actual theater where you can actually get the food and stuff. You bring your own car and stuff. But I mean, I do it myself, but it's just too damn cold. Oh, that's neat. I heard about that. Oh, that's neat. I heard about these. So you could buy a, you can actually get a drive. You can actually make yourself a drive-in movie by using a tablet. I heard about that. Use your tab. I mean, there's a thing you can buy a drive-in movie theater that you can use. You only need to use your tablet. Well, if I use my tablet, I wouldn't mind doing that. But I might do. But that's pretty neat though. This guy actually showed his HO scale model, which I'm looking at right now, and you can use a tablet for a drive-in movie theater or your cell phone. Me personally, I think that's pretty cool. This guy did that, but me personally, I would never do that. I mean, yes, I understand what I'm using the tablet for, but I would never. I don't know if I actually do that or not. Thing is, though, the drive-in movie theaters are pretty good, guys. I mean, oh, the old Tootsie Pop commercial. I remember that one. How many licks does it get sent to the Tootsie Pop? One, two, three, three. I mean, you gotta think though. I mean, yeah, the driving did die off because of the crash. I mean, most people say that Walmart crashed due to the 80s crash in the 80s, which I don't know if that's true or not, but people say this killed it off. People say that. I mean, people say pay-per-view was gonna kill off the cinema. I mean, people were worried when tapes came, when you had a chance of beta back in the 80s. I mean, late 70s, early 80s, you could get yourself a beta, then a VCR, but people are always wondering what would kill off the drive-in. Now, not many people know what killed them off. I mean, so it depends where you live, guys. Like me, I know what killed off drive. I mean, that's what people don't know. How did drive-ins die off? I mean, like I said, it could have been this, it could have been that. I mean, some drive-ins, like the one in Minden, Michigan, has been closed since the 70s. Most people say people who don't want to run them anymore, like I killed them off, they stopped using them. Or it could have been this, it could have been that. Well, me personally, I think it was one thing and one thing only. It killed them off, which it depends where you live. What killed off the drive-in movie theater, but a lot of things could have killed it off. Like this could have killed it off. That could have killed it off. Like I said before, pay-per-view killed it off. People say pay-per-view was going to kill it off. People say this was going to kill it off. Hello, but no one really knows what killed it off. I mean, me personally, I was doing some research in the 80s and thinking, okay, the driver must have died because of the 1980s, the lone crash of the 80s. I mean, people actually around the 70s when they died off. I mean, I talked this before about this on the channel before, but yeah, drive-ins movies died off in the 80s. I'm kind of glad they're still around today. I mean, I've been going to drive movies for years. Oh, that's pretty Google. Google made a video. Wait, 2012. Wow. Drive-in movies with. So in 2023. Wow. Hello. Hello, everyone. Hey, good day, good day, good day. I'm just looking at some stuff here, just doing this for a little bit. Then, who knows what to do. But yeah, I mean, I'm a guy that likes old stuff. And that's funny. Andrew's on there. That's pretty funny. Andrew in a hula hoop skirt. That's hilarious. Yeah, I've been doing some looking at some old drive-in theaters over the years, guys. How the drive-in was, how the drive was good. I mean, there's rumors that drivers are coming back, which I do believe that. I mean, this and that, but still, what killed them off? It does. It's kind of always people don't know what killed off the drive-in actually. Allow what killed off the drive-in movie theaters? What killed off the drive-in movie theaters? Now, like I said, people always say it was this, some people say it was that, but with the coronavirus happening, they've been reopening. I mean, our governor actually got some people pissed off. The governor actually pissed off a lot of people, which me personally, I would actually like to give the governor a piece of my mind. People say, Ty, you should run for governor. Yeah, I can run for governor in a couple of years. I can run for governor in a couple of years. But I have to wait a couple more years because I'm not old enough to be governor yet. But I'm thinking, do I really want to be governor of Michigan? Nah, no. I mean,
Movie theaters on Oahu can reopen Friday, June 19th, but since they've been
I mean, some people saying that this should happen, that should happen. Me personally, I really don't know what they should do these days. I mean, I like drive-in movie theaters. I like going to the drive-in. I love going to the drive-in. I try to go at least once a year. I mean, if I can go once a year, I'd be happy. I mean, heck, if we had drive-in movie theater around here, I'd love to go to, but there's no drive-ins around here. The nearest one has been closed since the 70s. I mean, if it reopened, I would go there right now. Okay, I don't care, Howler. I don't care, Harvey. My friend Harvey's on. I'm not watching you, Harvey. Sorry, Harvey. I'm not in the mood to watch you. I mean, you know, if you can find a drive-in movie theater, like you should go to it because those are rare drive-ins. The thing that sucks is the first drive-in was made in New Jersey. It no longer exists. That drive-in closed down. I mean, for a full car back in the thing, I just looking today. Back then, a quarter to get it, or a full car, or more than four people, it was $1. Which still, that wasn't bad back in the day. But I mean, still, you gotta think though. You can still find a drive-in. You're lucky. I mean, there's if you live in go like I said, Google it. If you can find it, Google your drive-in. Like me, I live near three drive-ins. I live near one in Hartford, Dowagiac, and I live near one in Coldwater. I've been to the five on the one Coldwater personally, so
A fixture off of Santa Fe since the late 60s, handling up to 400 to 500 carloads on capacity nights. But patrons are starting to get the news that the last picture show here is near.
what?
this little part of the city. This is the only place that
The only thing that sucks about the driving guys is the thing that kill. Also, people say what? I was surprised. I mean, what really hurt the drive-ins guys? Hi, guys. Hey, guys. No, I just got on. I just got on like 13 minutes ago. The thing that really kills the thing that really hurts the driving guys is the following thing is the thing that really kills the driving is this that. Me personally, I think what killed the. I mean, so yeah, what's really hurting the driving these guys? It's that when we went when the last person who went digital was the driving. Toyota actually put. I mean, those digital projectors cost a boatload of money. Toyota actually the car company Toyota pulling up the extra dough so they can go to the drive so they can actually get the digital projectors because everyone still used film.
that we have to go, and it's cheap entertainment.
So yeah, it's sad. I mean, I've been going to drive-in movie theaters. Like I said, drive-ins are nice cars to go to. The problem is you can still find a drive-in movie theater. Go to it. Like I said, I mean, Bernie personally, next year I might do a video on this again. And if I get a chance to go to drive-in, I do. Because last time I went to drive-in was a couple of years ago, and I actually, for my birthday, I went to the drive-in movie theater. It's under my playlist under rare category. You'll see the Capri Drive-In on there. That's the one I go to most likely. I go there all the time. I was there. Last time I went there, I went to the hotel as well. The Capri Drive-In is on the news recently too. So about how the governor's a jerk. I'm gonna say that the governor is I quote jerk, and people love the drive-in. People love going to the drive-in. Drive-in's a nice place to go to. Our governor was a jerk and an idiot. She actually went over. I mean, people actually went over the governor. Oh, you got yeah. So I mean, some drive-ins have 1 to 2 screens. Heck, there's one drive-in over on the east side of the state that has like 5 screens. I think they're closed now, but yeah. I mean, going to a drive-in movie theater is still fun. Me personally, if I had the money and stuff, like I said, I'd open my own drive-in, I would. The Twin drive-in in Michigan reopened up recently. I mean, I've been to a few of these drive-ins. Harrison Drive-In, never heard of it. But I mean, if you can still find one, do it. Because that's not a thing to worry about. I don't care about that, don't care about that, don't care about that, don't care about that. And yeah, before I take a shower, I thought I'd talk about the drive-in a little bit. How I love the drive-in, how going to the drive-in is fun. Like I said, you can get a chance to go to one. I mean, some drive-ins actually have the candy. I don't. What? I don't like the old filter. I'll see what I can do, Zach. Is that better for you? Is that better for you, Zach? Okay, I'll fix it. Let me see here. There we go. Normal filter. Okay. Back on normal filter. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool though. I mean, if I can, like I said, I mean, there's ways you can get drive-in movie theater. If you have trains like I do, you could build a drive-in movie theater. You could actually do. I mean, I was looking online the other day, found out that this guy makes these kits you could use your tablet for, which I don't think we use my tablet. I think if I put my tablet on the highest setting, it's like this. I can turn to a drive-in movie theater. All I have to do is watch an old movie or watch my own YouTube channel. Wow, you don't see those anymore. I mean, they're pretty cool to go to and stuff. And I mean, a lot of them got killed. I mean, the drive-in movie theater was a good place. I mean, wow, that's old. Let's see if I can find the 5 Mile or not and do watch it. So yeah, I mean, I'm just goofing off watching old stuff. I'm just looking at old stuff. I mean, when I went to Cold, last time I went to Coldwater, I had a drive-in movie theater, ate the drive-in diner, and actually ate the drive-in movie theater. Now, what really happened? It depends on what people say. Like this person right here might talk about it. Now, I don't know if he's going to talk about it or not, but I've been to a few. Let's see what this guy talks about, if he does or not. If he doesn't, I'm going to be pissed.
So I want to break down the origins of the drive-in movie theater business into two separate segments. The first being a time period when there was some experimentation with the model, and the second segment being the quote-unquote official founding of the drive-in movie theater concept. The first recorded instance of something resembling the eventual drive-in movie theater model was credited to this place called the Theater de Guadalupe back in New Mexico in 1915.
Wow.
They operated on kind of a hybrid model where they would have some auditorium seating in the front, and then you could pull the cars up behind the auditorium seating to see the screen from your car. Shortly after that, in 1921, this guy named Claude Caver got a permit to show silent films projected outdoors.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm actually on my tablet. I'm actually going to go live right now on my tablet, so I don't know. I might not. I'm not sure. I have some videos I want to upload still. I might not. I'm not sure. I'm still kind of thinking about that. Maybe.
In
We'll
downtown Comanche, Texas.
We'll find out.
This method of watching movies actually gained some popularity at the time, but as you can imagine, with the technology in the early 1920s, the logistics of pulling this off just were not good. It wasn't until the
Yeah, also it wouldn't work because of the film. The film strength back then wasn't that strong. I hate when you can do anything. I don't know, but you don't know. You don't ask me. I'll be here and what you say, but. Yeah, I'll do that later. You'll put some else in later. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm telling you, I don't know, really. Yeah, like I said, guys, I was doing some looking, guys. I mean, I just wanted to look at somebody if you can tell us how that happened.
The early 1930s that the official drive-in movie theater concept was created by this guy named Richard Hollingshead Jr. in Camden, New Jersey. And I just love this founding story. Basically, Richard's entire reasoning for creating the concept of the drive-in movie theater was that his mother was, how should we put this nicely?
Big.
Rather rotund. and had a lot of trouble just fitting in a standard-sized movie theater seat when going to see a movie. So Richard was just looking for a way that he could comfortably watch a movie with his mother. Richard actually worked out all the concepts and technicalities of this model right in his backyard. He started by nailing a screen between two trees and setting up a Kodak projector right on the hood of his car. By doing this,
a Model A Ford. His car was a Model A Ford. Yeah, he put the projector on the hood of a Model A Ford, which by then that was not a bad idea for a Model A Ford.
He worked out the visual sight lines, how the sound was going to work, what the standard size parking spot for a vehicle needed to be. After a couple years of experimentation, he developed a ramp system for cars to park at different heights so that everyone could see the screen equally. 1932 and 1933 were just huge years for Richard Hollingshead Jr. In 1932, he opened his first drive-in movie theater in Pensacola, New Jersey. And also in 1932, he applied for a patent for his drive-in movie theater concept that he developed in his backyard. And shortly later, in
May 16th, 1933, what is that the patent number?
1933, he was granted a patent by the U.S. government. So now anyone who was looking to start a drive-in movie theater business would legally have to go through Richard Hollingshead Jr. However, it looks like the good times for Richard were a little bit short-lived. Just 3 years later, in 1936, he was forced to shut down his drive-in movie theater business due to lack of revenue. I think as we go through this, it'll show that Richard was just a little bit before his time period with this invention. Kind of like social media sites that were created in the late 90s or the early 2000s, they were just a little bit before the market and the technology was ready. It wasn't until roughly 10 years later in the post-World War II economy that the conditions were poised for this model to take off. So before we talk about the reasons for the decline of the drive-in movie theater business model, let's spend a minute and give some context by looking at the rise. So it looks like the golden era for the...
Look at this game, guys. After World War II, guys, the trains died off, okay? When we ended war, the train service died off, okay? The car and the airplane were the next thing to travel. Okay? That's why, like people said, the 40s, 50s... I'll look into it.
For the drive-in movie theater business was roughly from the mid-1940s up through the mid-1960s. Okay. Maybe extending to the end of the 60s if you're being generous.
60s,
and the growth
70s.
From the late 40s into the 50s was just exponential.
Yep,
for example, in 1947, there were only 155 drive-in movie theaters
in the 50s,
in the
60s,
US,
there was over 5,000.
By the mid-1950s, there was well over 4,000. These theaters were just popping up everywhere, but especially in rural communities. And it's no coincidence that the rise of the drive-in movie theater business coincided heavily with the booming post-World War II economy and the increasing suburbanization of America. You see, you had service members returning from war. They were looking to start families. They had a little bit more money in their pockets due to the GI Bill, and they were all relocating from cities out into the suburbs. And what is a young family with a little bit of new leisure time on their hands looking for? Entertainment. This time period was also marked by declining fuel prices due to the end of wartime rationing. And with declining fuel prices, you give rise to U.S. car culture. You know, starting in the 1950s in America, you could drive through basically anything. Movie theaters, car washes, restaurants, banks, and even churches. I mean, a drive-through church, that's the most American thing I've ever heard of. Drive-in theaters were largely a phenomenon of rural communities and actually proved to be an excellent model for rural business owners. You see, at this time period, land was dirt cheap in rural communities, and the operating costs for a drive-in theater was significantly less than operating an indoor theater. Drive-in theaters also gained an early reputation as being a family-friendly atmosphere. Let's say you're a young family with a couple of really young kids and you wanted to go see a movie. You'd probably have to find someone to babysit the youngest kids while you go to the movie theater. And if you're a working class family and you live in a rural community, this is probably not the easiest thing to do. And one of the major benefits of the drive-in theater model was you could put all of your kids in the car and go see the movie as a family. Well, the drive-ins started to go downhill starting in the late 1960s. It was exacerbated through the entire decade of the 1970s, and by the early 1980s, the industry was just in complete ruins. So let's talk about the 5 main reasons for the decline of the drive-in movie theater business. The first big issue was unpredictable revenue due to bad weather. You know, before we even touch on the weather, we have to talk about the standard operations for most drive-in movie theaters. You see, most drive-ins were only open at night, so you have a narrow band of hours that you can make your money, and also only open on the weekends. So that's 2 days a week or 8 days a month where you have to bring in all of your revenue. And now factor in the weather. If it's raining, if it's snowing, or any kind of adverse weather condition where people aren't going to want to get in their cars and sit in a movie parking lot, probably can't even see the screen through their windshield, well, this is going to be a huge problem. You might not have to worry about this as much if you're operating in somewhere like Southern California where the weather is nice every day, but if you're operating in the rural Midwest or in the Northeast, inclement weather is just a part of life for the majority of the year. And it's extremely hard to run a successful business if you can't plan your revenue for that week, month, or even year. The second reason is the development of much better home entertainment technology.
Betamax.
See, at the same time that drive-in movie theaters were booming in the early 1950s, television was on the rise. TV broadcasts were starting to take market share away from radio broadcasts, and by 1955, half of all U.S. homes had a television set in the living room. Fast forward to the 1960s when color TV was introduced, and this is right around the time period when television became the preferred broadcast medium over radio. However, it wasn't until the invention of the VCR and video rental stores in the 1970s that drive-in theaters, and just theaters in general, started to get affected. Parents no longer had to pack little Sally, Jenny, and Billy into a car to go see a movie. They could record something on the TV at home, or just go to the rental store and pick something up to watch at home. A drive-in movie theater was just one of many new entertainment options, and definitely not the most convenient. The third reason is that the drive-in movie theater business actually started taking some significant hits to their reputation. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, the drive-in movie theater was advertised and marketed as a family-friendly experience. Heck, a lot of these places even had playground equipment and jungle gyms on the premise for kids to play on. But as revenue started to decline, the movie theaters were looking to make up that deficit by any means necessary. And at this time period in the 1970s, that meant screening more lowbrow content like slasher films and even X-rated films. So as you can imagine, this decision probably didn't go over too well in the mostly rural, mostly conservative communities that these drive-in theaters were a part of. Families stopped taking their kids to the movie theaters because of the type of content that's being displayed. Revenue for the theater owners keeps declining. So theater owners go out to source edgier and edgier content to screen to make up that revenue. The fourth reason is a big one, and it's pretty much just the overall economic conditions of the entire decade of the 1970s. Just as the 70s began, we immediately jumped into a recession, and the unemployment rate jumped from 3.5% to 6.1% in 1 year. And this segued into a 2-year period of stagflation from 1973 till 1975. Yes, it is just as bad as that word makes it sound. And we hit a peak of 8.2% unemployment in 1975. And this was all buoyed by the oil crisis of 1973 and also 1979. The oil crises of the 1970s were a giant geopolitical nightmare for many countries, but in simpler terms, for the American citizen, it meant fuel shortages and a spike in gas prices. And this is when Americans started downsizing from the giant boat cars of the 1950s, 60s, and 70s to the smaller, more fuel-efficient Japanese cars like the Honda Civics and the Toyota Corollas. But as you can imagine, it's a lot less comfortable to sit through a 2-hour drive-in movie sitting in a Honda Civic versus a 1950s Cadillac convertible. Yeah, this ebb and flow continues on today. Remember 10 years ago when gas was more expensive? Everyone was, buy all the Priuses, ride your bike everywhere. And now that gas prices are a lot cheaper, Americans have gone back to buying a...
Back a few years ago, gas was $5 a gallon where I'm from, okay? Now it's $3 Now, a year ago, about 10 years ago, gas was like $4 a gallon here in Michigan, okay? Last year, it was only $1.50. Okay, last year, gas was like $1.50 here last year. Now it's now, about 10 years ago, gas was like $4 or $5 a gallon here in Michigan, okay? $5 4 something a gallon, $5 for diesel. Okay, $5 a gallon for diesel. Then today, it's $3.50. Last year, it was $1.57 last year for gas. Last year it was $1.57 for fuel. Now it's $3.50. 10 years ago, it was $4 a gallon and $5 for a gallon of diesel. 10 years ago, which is funny because the latest
The
today.
fifth and final reason for the decline of the drive-in movie theater business was the land expense. The biggest dagger in the heart of this business model was the rising cost of land.
Yep.
And think about it. You need a huge plot of land to make a movie theater that is designed to seat.
The smallest movie theaters recorded in Michigan, the smallest movie theaters we had were 50 cars, and then there was one in Michigan, there was a few other ones around here, but the biggest ones actually hold the 5,000 cars. The only problem is the shit from Google to do it up. I'll be back in a second, guys. I gotta put my dinner up. Okay. Yeah, finish this up, then get off in a little bit. Ugh. Okay. I don't think I'm doing StreamYard today. We'll see about StreamYard in a little bit. Maybe StreamYard, I'm not on yet.
Well, and while rural land had historically been cheap, we are 40 years deep into the suburbanization of America, and these developments are
Live in
pushing
Michigan.
out further
Probably
and further
cheaper in
into
Michigan.
rural territory. It's estimated that setting up a single-screen drive-in theater may cost anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000.
I gotta do that. I'm getting off, guys.